Now, I know that many of you, or some of you, are concerned about your grades. They're not where you want them to be. This has been a very challenging semester, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking to you about your grades. The midterm grades came out, and what you got midterm was outdated pretty rapidly as we posted your exam 2 scores. And you need to really understand how your grade is determined, and you need to think about ways that you can, moving forward, really affect your grade. So we're going to talk about each of the grading aspects. First of all, I want to talk about your play pauses. You need to realize that this is your base foundation. I've talked about that, how important it is to really watch them with an eye towards learning and taking good notes, because this is your foundation. You need to be aware that it's 5% of your grades. I count off if they're late. I allow you to do them late because it's better late than never. I drop your 4 lowest. And what students don't realize, and they get kind of stressed out about, is that anybody who has a 75% or higher gets 100% on this at the end of the semester. So I get criticism because I'm counting off the wrong answers. But I have designed these play pauses to where if students are paying attention and they are rewinding if they don't understand, and they're not doing them late, it's set to be fairly easy to get an 85% or higher. Now, we brought that down to 75% for this semester with COVID being, such a reality. But you need to not sweat over missing a few here and there. Your goal is to pay attention, to take good notes, because this is your foundation for learning. Okay, the next thing that you have is your sapling. Now, this is 10% of your grade. If you count them all up for the whole semester, that's 41 that you will do. I dropped the lowest 4, and you need to kind of get your head wrapped around what 10% of your grade means, okay? If you were to miss one more than 4, so the next one that you miss is not it doesn't get counted off, that's only going to drop your overall grade by 0.2%. Okay, so if you miss one, you don't worry about it. You try to do them all because what are they there for? They're designed to help you learn, not just to get a grade. It's not worth that much. It is designed to help you learn. We assign points to this simply because we know that when we assign points, students value it. But it is so valuable, even if there were no points assigned. When you do the sapling, you need to be looking at the questions and trying to figure out, what about the wording of this problem lets me know that this is what I need to do? You struggle through the first time. You work hard through that first time. So that is what it's for. It's for the learning. And it is the bare minimum of working through problems. It's not enough, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Now, what are the complaints that I hear about sapling? Students say, well, it takes way too much time, and therefore it should count more percentage points of your overall grade. What we know about students is they already are concerned that this is 10% of their grade. They already have this feeling that every point counts, and we hear time and time again about people paying others to do their sapling for them, or paying Chegg to put the questions in and pop up an answer. We're not going to give it more than 10%. We give it some points so that you realize there's value to it. And we know that it's there to try to be a learning tool. Another complaint is that we shouldn't count off for attempts. And we do that again because when we assign a value to each attempt, students tend to value each attempt. But if missing a whole assignment is only going to drop your overall grade by 0.2, if you miss an entire question because you finally looked at and gave up, that's going to drop your grade by 0.02. If you get a 5% nick on an attempt, it's so little it doesn't even count towards your grade. So don't sweat those knocks. They are just there to give you a little emotional response to try to encourage you to try each time. Nothing more. Okay, so that's what the sapling is all about. Now, certainly the lion's share of your grade is your exams. 20% of each exam and 25% of the final is your grade in this class. That's a total of 85 percentage points of your grade. So this is where you show me what you have learned. There is no other method we have for you to show me what you have learned. And that's an unfortunate thing. You're in this world of grades from exams being you being able to show me. I can't have a little conversation with each one of you and say, okay, tell me what you know, and make a judgment that way. Now, you can replace your lowest exam if you do better on the corresponding part of the final. So this is our bonus, okay? It's not a do something kind of busy working at some points. It's going back, learning what you missed the first time, and replacing that grade. The sky's the limit. They've been replaced with 100% before because students went back and really learned that material. What are our complaints about exams? That there's too much content. And I just want to tell you that the content of General Chemistry 2, and that's the class that we have, General Chemistry 2 107, is a standard that's nationwide. There may be a few topics here and there that one university covers that another one does not, but I can talk to each one of you of how I know this, but I have served on national committees where we have interviewed faculty across the nation, and I do know what it is. And if I were to cut back, or the university said, you know what, we don't want you all to learn that much stuff, and you wanted to transfer to another school, and they looked at what we covered, they would say, no, your grade won't transfer. We have to keep that standard a national standard. The other big complaint is that the exams are too long. I hear this very often, and I understand it. When you're first learning material, it is hard to be fluent. I do have students who are fluent, who are able to complete that exam in the hour and 15 minutes that is given. But not everybody will. I want you to know that when I write the test, I judge it by whether or not I can finish it in 20 to 30 minutes. Now, I'm not a genius, but where I don't have a delay is between seeing the question and starting it. I know exactly how to start, so I will work through it, get an answer. And when it comes to reading the concepts, I don't have to ponder them and scratch my head. I know the concepts very well, so I can go straight to an answer. So that's how I design it, knowing that you're going to need twice that much time or a little bit more to complete it. But fluency is something that you will develop, and that's where the sapling comes in. If you are just doing the sapling to get it done, you're not going to build that fluency. If you're only doing the sapling and that's it, you're not going to build that fluency. You need to do that sapling as your first struggle through the problems, and you need to stop and contemplate, what about that problem and the wording of that problem lets me know that this is what I'm supposed to do. Then you should go see if you've learned anything and do the practice saplings. Try them out of order so that you're just, out of order in one assignment. So after they've come due on a Sunday, suddenly those same assignments are available to you to do and practice them. You need to be seeing, can I put my notes away? Can I not look at the hints? Can I do these assignments fluently? If you're relying on your notes to look things up, you're going to have to take way too much time. So the fact of the matter is, the better you know something, the more your working memory will retrieve it and be able to start it and get through it in a timely manner. If you think about anything that you've learned, whether it's a musical instrument or you're involved in sports, your first time through either a music piece or some kind of physical feat, you have to struggle. And the first time you do it doesn't mean, oh, I've got it, I never have to do it again. Every time I try it, it's going to be there. Chemistry is the same way. The first time you work through a problem, you don't have it fully yet. You've got to keep on working towards that fluency. And then another complaint has to do with wording things differently than the way it is in sapling. And that's just the language of chemistry. I know the language of chemistry. The more you familiarize yourself by studying the language of it, you will not require me to say a set of 5 words to recognize the problem. You will understand the language and I can speak it in different ways. So if you find that you don't understand the wording, or if you find that you're looking at the problem and you don't know how to start, those are things that you can work on by reworking the homework problems, and as you're working them, be thinking about the concepts embedded in them. Here's an example. If a problem says calculate the activation energy, a lot of students just say, okay, what equation do I need? Here's the hint. It tells me to use this equation. I'll use this equation. Aha, I got an activation energy. Let's move on. But you should stop and say, activation energy, what's activation energy? Come up with the definition of activation energy. Think, okay, it's energy required. That's a positive value. Okay, I'm getting an idea of what activation energy is. Now I'm ready to work the problem. So that's going to be bringing the concepts in as you're working through the sapling. Now let's talk a little bit about this replacing your lowest exam. This is not going to happen if you wait until the week before finals to start thinking about it. You need to start now. You need to realize that one of your exam grades can be brought up if you do better. And this is a huge change in your grade if you do better. So you need to start now. Every week between now and finals week, spend time looking at the exam that's your lowest. Okay? So while you're learning the new stuff and you're doing sapling and doing it again, you're looking at your old exam that you took and you're doing 5 or 6 questions each week. I want you to look at the question and say, can I do this problem? If it's a calculation, I want you to find other calculations on that topic and practice them. Another wonderful source of practice is your textbook. At the end of each chapter are very well organized sets of problems that you can do. If it's a concept, can I do the one that I was given? Do I understand it? Can I look at my notes and can I come up with the surrounding ideas and do I really understand them? If you do 5 or 6 every week, really digging in and understanding them, when the final rolls around, you are going to replace that with a much higher grade. If you don't do that, it won't happen. So, hopefully I've given you ideas that you can utilize as you're moving forward to, number 1, improve your exam grades as you go, and number 2, really think about bringing up that final exam part that you need to replace. Know what the play posits are all about and don't sweat over the small stuff. Know what the sapling is all about and don't sweat over the small stuff. Know what your exams are all about, and all of those other things that you do will help you moving forward. If any of you would like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, please feel free to email me with a suggested time that you'd like to meet, multiple suggested times. If you haven't been coming to class, I encourage you to do so. We start the process of working with our notes and understanding how to work the problems in class. And I have lots of students who have told me that this has been beneficial to them. So, best of luck as you continue through the rest of this semester. Reach out to me if you need my help in understanding.